Hi, I'm Ham. I'm a chef, a recipe developer, an amateur dog walker, professional paraglider. And today, what am I doing? We're making Za'atar and Labneh Spaghetti. Usually we have the labneh spread over fresh pita, the za'atar on top, but there's so many other things that you can do with that magical combination of labneh and za'atar. That combination is perfect together, and you can use it for so many different things. Don't be limited by just spreading it onto bread. So growing up, Za'atar and Labneh were staples. We always had it at home. It was a component of multiple snacks, dinners, lunches, school lunches, breakfasts. Labneh, if you're not familiar, is a strained or hung yogurt. So what happens is it strains out all of that whey, and you end up with this like sour, cream cheesy kind of texture. Ooh, it's absolutely incredible. And with some olive oil on top, it's so good you can just eat it with a spoon. Za'atar is an herby blend found throughout the Middle East, and a lot of people think it's like something you can make at home, that it's a mixture of thyme and oregano and all these things. But no, Za'atar is its own herb. It's not just the blend, it's also the name of a plant. It's a specific kind of plant that has kind of a mixture of flavor between thyme and oregano. Don't accept low quality Za'atar. Go out, find a high quality one, and if you look on the ingredients, the first ingredient should either be Za'atar or wild thyme. In my Bolivian family, you have a light breakfast in the morning, and then lunch is your main meal. Often I was left to fend for myself when it came to dinner times. And this labneh and za'atar spaghetti was something I turned to often, because we always had spaghetti around, we always had labneh around, we always had za'atar around, and it was very easy to put together. You don't really need a lot of skill. So this was kind of the first recipe that I perfected, and it's something that I still make to this day because it's so satisfying and so easy to make. All right, let's do this. So I've got my gigantic pot of boiling water to cook my pasta. Seasoning your pasta water, very important. I like to think of it as like a slightly over-seasoned soup. So you want to season your water, and you're like, ooh, this is like a tasty water-flavored broth, and then go a little bit further. You don't want to over-season your pasta, because if your pasta gets too salty, then you're really limited with how well you can season your sauce or how much cheese you can put on, because it's really going to take it over the top, and at the end of the day, your pasta's still going to be too salty. Show some restraint. I'm using a spoon, not my hand. I'm not doing fistfuls of salt here. So we're gonna spoon this, give it a stir. Luckily, since the water is boiling, the salt dissolves almost instantly, so you don't really need to wait very long to taste it. Wow, nailed it on the first try. That's amazing. We got that on tape, right? So every spaghetti has a different time on the package. So I always time my pasta by picking the lowest time and then taking away a minute. And that's when I pull out the pasta to check it. Because then, you know, if their timing is wrong, I trust nobody. You still have like a little bit of a buffer. Give it a stir. While the spaghetti cooks, I'm going to do the only bit of knife work that this recipe needs, which is thinly slice a whole bunch of garlic. I know this is an obscene amount of garlic. I really frickin' like garlic, especially with pasta, and especially with labneh and za'atar. They're just really good friends. They get along really, really well. I believe our spaghetti is now ready. Take a little bit out, give it a taste. What you're looking for is the finest fleck of white in the middle for that al dente vibe. You know what I mean? And now we drain. So I have a bowl underneath to trap all that pasta water, because I'm gonna need it. So I'm gonna pour some both all over the counter and into this handy dandy jug. Ready to go. We've got our pasta water, a healthy glug of olive oil. Olive oil's hot. I acknowledge that this is an insane amount of garlic, but just trust me. This pasta can take it, it needs it, and then we're just gonna fry our garlic in the olive oil until it's lightly golden brown and really fragrant. I want to stop this cooking immediately, so I'm just going to give it a little hit of pasta water off the heat and then pop it back. And now we add our stock. Give it a toss. You want to really incorporate it. This is way too dry. I definitely need more pasta water. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Even though I've already added my pasta water, I'm gonna hold on to it because once I add the labneh, I might need to loosen it just to keep it glossy and creamy and smooth. So hold on to it until right before you serve it. Because if it starts to cool off, it'll start to tighten and congeal a bit, and just a splash of pasta water will bring it back to life. So we're gonna let that chill together, let the olive oil, the garlic, the spaghetti, the pasta water mingle. And then once it's feeling glossy and has thickened slightly, we're gonna go in with our labneh. So I'm gonna add our labneh. As soon as I add my labneh, I turn the heat as low as possible. I do not want this to simmer or boil at this point because then you risk it breaking. And I just vigorously stir the labneh into the spaghetti until it melts and coats every strand. Look at how nice and glossy and smooth that is. I'm gonna show you another variation of this labneh spaghetti without za'atar and instead with parm and black pepper, because this is actually how my mom made us alfredo at home. I'm going to take half of this labneh spaghetti and I'm gonna turn it into our pseudo alfredo. And all you need to do is just add a generous amount of parm, some black pepper, stir all that together until the parm melts. So the parm's gonna really tighten the spaghetti up. So you're gonna want to give it a splash of pasta water and then just keep stirring it over very low heat until the parm fully melts. And then you got your quick, easy, just as tasty, if not, in my opinion, no offense Italians, but kind of better than Alfredo. But like, I don't think Italians even claim Alfredo, so I'm not offending Italians. The parm is fully melted, our pasta looks fantastic, and we are good to plate up and eat. Good. Labneh spaghetti. That's so luscious. You'd think that there was like a bunch of cream and butter and stuff in there. Nah, man. Strained yogurt. A heap of za'atar. Healthy glug of olive oil on top. And that's our pasta one. And here we have our pseudo alfredo. Oh, that's cheesy, creamy, glossy. A little black pepper on top. Olive oil as well. Okay, we're ready to taste. I'm gonna go into my pseudo alfredo first. It's really good. The parm really comes through, and then you get a back note of toasted garlic, you get some olive oil. Throughout, you just get a little bit of tang from the labneh. It's fantastic. It's what keeps you eating because it never gets too heavy. Now, the star of the show, the za'atar. I always like to eat this with a sidecar of za'atar as well. Since you're just putting it on top, the bottom layer might need another little hit, so I like to top it as I need it. Wow. The herbaceousness from the za'atar and that sumac in there really combines with the labneh, and you get this really pleasant acidity throughout. It's creamy and lush and rich without being too heavy. If you have any leftovers, throw it in the fridge. It's just as delicious cold. You can find this recipe and many other delicious ones on NYT Cooking.